OK, listen, I want to talk about holiday sickness. We'll do that very shortly. And I want to ask you, have you ever been on holiday and suffered from food poisoning? In fact, there's a story a couple of months ago, more or less the whole hotel in Turkey were struck down with food poisoning. Sunstroke, apparently so many of us come back sick from our holidays that it cost the economy £240 million in lost revenue. A lot of us don't complain when we are ill and we're abroad, meaning 3/4 of us never claim on travel insurance. Why would that be? Well, to tell us a little bit more, Frank Breheny. I hope that's how I pronounce the surname, Frank. Head of Travel Consumer Group Holiday Travel Watch. Hi, Frank.
Morning, Danny.
Good morning. So why are people reluctant to claim or at least get some hospital treatment or medical care abroad, do you think?
I think, we work hard for that 50 weeks of the year for that precious 2 weeks. And I think you don't go away on holiday looking for trouble, so to speak. And I think when, it's like a lot of things, when people become ill, they kind of fall into their own shell. And I can understand that. But, it's an awful lot of money to pay out. I mean, holidaymakers are paying out anywhere between £3,000 and £10,000 for a 2-week holiday, depending on the size of their family. It's an awful lot of money to shell out if something has gone wrong with it, whether it's the food, the swimming pool, or you're ill. And I think sometimes the holidaymaker tends to forget that it's a product like anything else, like a car or a washing machine or something like this. If it goes wrong, you need to complain. You need to make sure that the tour operator knows that there's something not right.
Now, this would be, for example, food poisoning rather than sunstroke. It's not the tour operator's fault if you just bake like a lobster, is it, in the sun? But nevertheless, if you're struck down with salmonella, then that's the hotel's fault, maybe.
Well, yes. I mean, the complaints that we've received this summer through our helpline, indicates that there are problems at hotels. So, murky and cloudy swimming pools, problems where vomit hasn't been cleaned up around the public areas around the pool. Problems with bloodied chicken and food and stuff like that. I think, common sense tells you that the source is the hotel. But often as not, the hotelier and the tour operator denies it immediately. They simply do not accept that these problems exist. And I think that's where the problem lies.
So what do we do, Frank? I mean, if there is vomit by the pool and it hasn't been cleaned and cleared, then it's not the hotelier's fault that someone has vomited, but it is the hotelier's fault if that vomit is still there an hour later.
Absolutely.
So what do? We take photographic evidence?
Yeah, absolutely. It's simply the case that, holidaymakers forget, these great phones that we got strapped to our sides, are great evidence gatherers. Take your photographs, take your videos. I've known holidaymakers, like in the situation we're talking about, they've actually rolled up their sleeves and they've cleaned up the mess themselves. Not that I would suggest that to anybody. But, it's pretty desperate when holidaymakers get to that point, and you need to create that record of what happened to you. I often say to holidaymakers, particularly ones I speak to in resorts, create a video diary. It may seem a little odd, but just put the phone in front of you, talk into the phone, because that's great evidence.
And then with that evidence, you would try, when you get back home, you'd get compensation, or would you try and get some compensation at the resort?
You can try at the resort, because I'm a great believer in trying to put right what has gone wrong there and then. Try and recapture that problems from the holiday. Give the tour operator the chance to put right what's gone wrong. But, we've detected this year, that holidaymakers, when they're making complaints in resorts, they are being confined to their rooms, perhaps for understandable reasons, or they're being isolated from other holidaymakers when they're making complaints. And sometimes some tour companies are actually not recording the complaints or reluctant to do so. And the ones I've spoken to in resorts, I've guided them through this to tell them how to deal with this, to make sure those complaints are recorded, because, they've got the greatest early warning system, the consumer, and if they don't act on what they're saying in resort when they come home, it's no wonder these problems don't get resolved.
Holiday Travel Watchers, Frank Breheny. Thank you, Frank.
Not at all. Great pleasure.
All the best.
All the best
Speak to you again. Thank you.